Greetings, wise acolytes of the Force, and welcome back to the Archives. With Anakin Skywalker having been conceived through the Force, his midichlorian count was at an historically unprecedented level. This proved to be a genetic trait which he would then pass down to all of the generations following, beginning with Luke and Leia. Luke Skywalker is said to have carried the most, if not all, the potential of the Chosen One, according to George Lucas. This is something Luke ultimately proved whenever he progressed through Jedi training at remarkable speeds, despite only having limited information available to him. Nevertheless, Luke grew into one of the most powerful beings in the entire galaxy, and one of the strongest Jedi, if not the strongest Jedi, in recorded history. But what of his sister Leia? While her midichlorian count has not been precisely given, Leia's potential is theorized to have been just as promising as Luke's was, inheriting the same potential of the Chosen One. Luke even stated that he believed it was possible for Leia to become more powerful than himself, theorizing that her count may be slightly higher, although of course this was never proven. And yet, several years into her training, and Luke would begin to have his doubts of his sister. His sister was not progressing nearly as fast as he did, or even the other students, and soon he would actually grow to become disappointed and confused with her lack of progress. So why exactly was this? Why was Leia mysteriously weak in the Force according to Luke? Well, today, Acolytes of the Force, we will open up another holocron and examine that question. Our sources today range from Legends continuity as well as some canon sources, but we'll mostly focus on Legends since canon tells things a lot differently. Leia had always suffered from having a slow start to her Jedi training. In the days following the Battle of Endor, Luke did his best to train Leia whenever he could. After having come back from his journeys in seeking Jedi knowledge, Luke was ready to begin passing on what he knew to Leia, hoping that she would be his first student. Unfortunately though, this would not go as planned, as the New Republic was being established, and Leia's duties as a politician were being demanded constantly by Mon Mothma and the rest of the New Republic ruling council. Not to mention, she was carrying twins, and was barely able to fulfill her duty as a mother, or even have much time for Han Solo. However, we know that Leia was able to complete enough training to eventually build a lightsaber, connect with her family through the Force, and reach out with her senses, but nothing that would progress her past these early Padawan stages. This would continue through the events of the Thrawn trilogy. However, after several years passed, Leia would find more time once the New Republic was not in perpetual danger from Imperial remnants. But soon, even more difficulties would arise, as she was having trouble with all of her training no matter what Luke tried to do to help her. 7 years into her Jedi training, and she was still having trouble with little things like telekinesis, being able to focus on moving more than one object at a time without getting completely unfocused, and even dropping both. In the novel Jedi Search, Luke Skywalker finally addresses Leia's training in the Force, and makes some moves to help improve upon it. Unfortunately though, at this time, Leia wasn't in the best state of mind, with all kinds of problems going on in the New Republic Council, as well as the newfound revelation that Han Solo had gone missing. Because of this, Luke recommended that she shift her focus away from her political duties and more towards her Jedi training for a little while, theorizing that perhaps the stress from her regular job was impeding her ability to learn and connect with the Force. However, Leia would actually reveal to Luke Skywalker why she wasn't progressing. It was because she did not want to. Leia didn't want to progress in the Force, and was considering the fact that she didn't want to be a Jedi at all. In canon, we know that Leia walked away from the Jedi path after receiving a terrifying vision about her son going to the dark side. Rather than address these concerns, she simply decided to leave the Jedi Order, and the Force entirely not to mention, doing so because she did not want to bear the visions any longer. We get a lot more detail about this information in the Shadow of the Sith novel. Here, Leia also says she walked away from the Jedi path because of the power that Darth Vader wielded, and the fact that it scared her so deeply, even stating that she really didn't care all that much about the Force, and was only training to spend time with Luke, which was not the will of the Force at all. In Legends, Leia says this to Luke: "Maybe I'm afraid of that, Luke. When I look at you, I see a haunted expression in your eyes, as if a vital part of you has been burned away by the personal hells you've walked through, trying to kill your own father, fighting a clone of yourself. If that's what it takes to be a powerful Jedi, maybe I don't want the job." Here, Leia reveals a deeply personal fear of the Force itself and the path of the Jedi, having witnessed the horrible things that Luke has had to go through in his journeys as a peacekeeper, how he went from being a bright-eyed farm boy to a seasoned Jedi Master, But unlike others who witnessed his heroics, Leia wasn't looking at any improvement. Leia saw all the personal things that screwed with Luke Skywalker's head and warped his mind, damaged his very soul. She knew of his restless nights, the pressure of being the last Jedi. Leia's mind was more focused on wanting to be a mother and to raise her children, Jacen and Jaina Solo, well. She had lost all of her original family in the destruction of Alderaan at the hands of the Death Star. And yes, the New Republic was very much important to her also. But with that said, nothing outweighed Leia's desire to protect her family. There have been small hints in many of the Legends novels that all of the stress and fear that Leia was experiencing could have potentially led her down a dark path. With all of that said, however, as more time passed, Leia would eventually return to her Jedi training. Only this time, not training under her brother, but under the Jedi Master Seba Sabatine. With a brand new teacher and a new plan, Leia would grow into becoming a much stronger Force wielder. Her saber skill would improve significantly until she was able to hold her own against dark side acolytes, even beings such as the fallen Jedi Elema Mar and the powerful dark Jedi Beldorian the Hutt, a Jedi who was trained during the Clone Wars. While Leia's physical manifestations of the Force still left something to be desired, her powers of the mind was where she shined the most. Leia had mastered the Jedi mind trick even stronger than Luke, and she was able to convince Elema Mar, a trained Jedi Knight, to relinquish her lightsaber. Leia could also use the Force to manipulate technology, using the ability known as Machu Daru, as well as more complex abilities such as battle meditation. Mind Meld was a highly useful skill in the Force that allowed a single person to link together the minds of several Force sensitives, creating a network of communication that's even faster than sensing one's feelings. Leia too learned this ability. This power allowed the Jedi to act smoothly as a single unit on the battlefield, sensing each other's mental impressions, and this was something used to great effect by the Jedi of the High Republic era, as well as an ability that Luke used against the Yuuzhan Vong. In fact, Leia's ability of battle meditation was one of the most powerful ever recorded, creating a brand new ability that she called Force Harmony, giving Luke Skywalker enough power and light to fight off the Dark Empire Sidious, who is debatably the most powerful version of the character. With Leia's Force Harmony empowering him, Luke was able to become just as fast as Sidious was in their duel, until the two of them were dueling blurs of ultimate power. With all of that said, Leia's most powerful manifestation of the Force came in her later years, in the year 45 ABY. On the hidden monolith, Leia became one with the dark and light sides of the Force, manifesting golden Force lightning, and then sending bursts of golden light which completely disintegrated two people. Leia would absolutely grow to become one of the most powerful Jedi of her generation and of all time. But that does not stop the fact that initially, Luke Skywalker believed his sister to be a weak Jedi, especially concerning her lineage. But anyway, my friends, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Leia and her mental state as well as her Jedi training? And what are your thoughts on Luke Skywalker's impressions of his sister when she first began her training? As always, my friends and fellow acolytes of the Force, thank you so much for stopping by the archives, and may the Force be with you.